Hello, family. I just get myself ready for bed tonight and just took my shower. And while I was in there, I was thinking about my daddy. Today is my dad's birthday, so I told him happy heavenly birthday. Um, and I was just thinking about the type of man my dad was. So I just wanted to do a tribute to my dad. This is my way, I guess, of processing through my emotions in regards to a man whose birthday is today, but a man who meant so much to me and who taught me so much. I can remember my dad was such a caring man. And I went to the Woman Evolve conference and I heard uh, one of the pastors, Dr. Anita Hill, I think that's her last name, talk about, I got it from my mama. And I realized that I got it from my daddy. I got it from my daddy. I used to say my daddy was my mama because my mother suffered from depression. And so my dad was the one in many cases who did the cooking and the cleaning, um, who made sure that, we had what we needed. He was a working man, but he was a caring man, such a caring man. And by all accounts, he shouldn't have been because his mom died when he was 11. And my grandfather remarried a woman who sent my dad off to live with her family, a family he didn't know at the age of 11. And my dad told me that his foster mother, whom I did call grandmother, would make him cook at 11, make him change her baby's diapers. Um, I mean, at 11, he was a baby himself. And then they would get all the way, my daddy's from the Houston area, and they'd get all the way down to Huntsville. And she wouldn't take my daddy any further to see his family. Um, she'd turn around and go back home. And he just, he talked about how he would just, it just hurt. He was just hurt and broken inside, just as a little boy, but he had to be resilient. He had to survive. And then to care for my mother the way he did when she, would go through her bouts of depression. He was always there to hold her. Um, she didn't have to worry about, anything because my dad was a provider, a protector, but he was so caring. I can remember when I would get sick as a little girl, my daddy would bring me a bell that I could ring, and I could ring that bell when I needed something. And he came. He came. He would serve me breakfast in bed when I was sick, and he would make sure that he would take me shopping for Easter Sunday because he always wanted his daughter to be pretty. So he would make sure that I had the prettiest dress. And today I was just thinking about him and just processing, where all that care comes from. The way I care today has a lot to do with the way I saw my dad care. And so I'm just so happy um, to be his daughter. I'm just so happy to be his daughter and to have had that kind of example of a man in my life. I'll never forget, my daddy would always tell me, he'd say, make sure you get your education because if that joker act up, you can take care of yourself. So my daddy was he was raising me to even know, listen, you may have to care for yourself, Felicia. And so get your education. To him, that was how you did it. You get your education so you can always fall back on that if you need to. And so I just I just want to publicly thank God for the daddy he gave me. Was my daddy perfect? Nope, not at all. Towards the end of his days, I can remember Daddy crying a whole lot. Daddy would cry a lot. And sometimes dementia would make him somebody that I didn't recognize, to be honest. But at the end of his days, he cried a lot. And I honestly believe that the Lord was cleansing my daddy's soul. He was cleansing that little boy who was so hurt as a child, who wasn't near the family that he grew up knowing and loving, at least up until the age of 11. And so God was so gracious to give my daddy lots and lots and lots of tears so that my daddy could just be purged of all of that, be cleansed of all of that. I just believe that my daddy was taking a good bath in his tears at the end of his days to get him ready to go home to be with the Lord. So I don't know if anybody gets anything out of this. I just wanted to talk about my daddy today on his, what would have been his 88th birthday. So happy birthday, Daddy. I love you and I miss you. And I thank you for being such a caring man. Such a caring man. My daddy was an example of Christ before me. Yes, he was. He was an example before me to show me how Christ cares. Priceless. Priceless. A young woman, a little girl, a grown woman couldn't ask for anything more in terms of a daddy. So with that, I believe I've used my words well tonight. I hope you use your words well, and I hope you have a good night's sleep and a wonderful day tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.